I built hundreds of retirement income plans in my career. So when Dave Ramsey says you can safely withdraw 8% a year from your portfolio invested in 100% in stocks, I had to backtest that claim to see if the data supported him. Spoiler alert, your odds of success are about the same as walking away from a casino a winner. So let's talk a little bit about some of the parameters here. First and foremost, let's talk about the time horizon. I'm backtesting periods starting from 1987 all the way through 2006. I wanted to make it as recent as possible. I didn't want to go back to the 40s, 50s, and 60s because the market looks a lot different today than it did back then. But I wanted as many 30-year time horizons as possible. Obviously, some of the time horizons like 2000 through 2006, we're not going to have a full 30 years, but we're going to have it as close as possible. And the objective is to see how many of these periods did the portfolio last at least 30 years. The second thing is we're using a portfolio that's invested 100% in stocks. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this in a second in the next slide, because this is one of the details that we changed from the last video where I backtested this same time horizon using a 75% stock allocation and 25% fixed income. And then last but not least, we are testing a $1 million portfolio withdrawing 8% a year in year one. That's important to point out because 8% of $1 million is $80,000, and we're going to adjust that withdrawal by inflation every single year. So the percentage will fluctuate. The market goes up, the percentage might go down the next year. But if the market goes down, the percentage you're actually withdrawing might go up. And so we're just going to ignore the percentage after year one, and we're going to just adjust that withdrawal by whatever that inflation rate was that particular year. And let's see how many of these backtests survived a 30-year time horizon or were expected to survive a 30-year time horizon. Okay, so why 100% in stocks? Okay, so let me kind of set the table for this one. This is based on Dave Ramsey's suggestion. And like I said, in the last video, I did the same backtest, but I used a 75-25 allocation. But I had some people comment in the video saying this wasn't really what Dave said. He's assuming his 4 mutual fund process. So I did a little research, and I know this is going to be hard to read, okay? But essentially what he does is he breaks down the allocation into 4 categories of mutual funds. And the categories are as follows. And I'm going to highlight it, I'm going to underline it, I'm going to tell you what it is. So first is growth and income funds, okay? The second is growth funds. The third is aggressive growth funds. And then the fourth is international funds. I don't like the terminology here because this doesn't really jive with what actual fund categories look like. If you look at any of the, the third-party research like a Morningstar, none of them, this does not really jive well. Okay, so I had to do a little further research into what does it mean to be growth and income? What does it mean to be growth? What does it mean to be aggressive growth? And what does it mean to be international? Okay, and so one thing I also want to point out is that his suggestion is spreading that 25% equal weights between all of those 4 mutual fund categories. Personally, I don't think this is a great way to build a proper investment allocation. This is just me. But again, I'm going to use the red letter language that Dave Ramsey puts out. So I did a little further research, and we figured out that growth and income simply means large cap. This will be the S&P 500. Growth funds means mid cap stocks, so companies that are not super big, not super small. And then aggressive growth are your smaller companies, a lot of upside, but a lot of risk of bankruptcy, a lot of risk of failure. And then international is just that international funds. So that's how we're going to split this asset allocation. Okay. Now, I didn't pick particular mutual funds for this exercise, but I'm going to use the index for each of those asset classes. So we have large cap at 25%, we have mid cap at 25%, small cap at 25%. And then international stocks at 25%. So an equal distribution between all the 4 major mutual fund categories based on Dave Ramsey's criteria. Again, this is not my recommendation. I rarely meet with clients. Okay, I've been working with retirees for 17 years. I rarely meet with people that come to me and say, you know what, Kevin? I've been aggressive throughout my accumulation years. Now that I'm retired, I want to stay 100% stocks. Truthfully, I never see that happen. Okay. Now, we have some clients that are 100% stocks, but we'll talk a little bit more about that at the very end, where this may actually fit in the context of an investment strategy in retirement. So let's look at the results in this one, okay? So what we did is we took each year, okay? So we took each year, again, beginning in 1987 all the way through 2006, and we wanted to see, did the portfolio survive a 30-year time horizon? And as we know, anything after 1996 is not technically going to have a full 10 years. So this is really the cutoff for when you're going to have more or fewer than 30 years. But even on that side of the ledger, you only have one trial that was technically successful. 2004, yes, there's money left over, but that's only in the 22nd year. That portfolio is about to be exhausted. That is not going to meet a definition, a successful trial. So I'm going to cross that one out to begin with. So we have one trial after 1996 that was successful. From 1996 and before, we had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trials. So you know what? Pretty good. Okay. During this boom period in the stock market in the 80s and early 90s, during the tech boom, a lot of euphoria in the stock market, the market performed extremely well. These individuals were rewarded. Okay. So if you look at these numbers in totality, we essentially had 9 successful trials. Okay. The other 11 trials were not successful. So 11 were not successful. Okay. And certainly in the good years. So in the 9 trials, you had a lot more upside. Like, look at this situation. Look at this trial in 1991. This individual started with $1 million, started withdrawal 8% a year. This individual, after 30 years, had close to, about $3.7 million at that point in time. This portfolio is going to last well beyond 30 years, probably indefinite, probably in perpetuity. This portfolio will never get exhausted. Okay. And similar stories here. Like in 1987, this individual ended with $1 million. I think in the other back test, if we look back to the scenario 1987, that individual only had about $100,000. So the successful trials were a lot more successful, and there were a few more successful trials. Okay, I think in the first in the 75-25 allocation, we had 6 successful trials. So this did increase the number of successful trials by 3. Okay. Now, on the flip side, though, 7 portfolios lasted fewer than 20 years. Okay. So this was actually a negative. So in the other stress test that we did, the 75-25 allocation, you had only 5 portfolios that lasted fewer than 20 years. So 2 more trials actually had a lot more downside. So in other words, risk tolerance was in play. There was a lot more upside, but then there was a lot more downside as well. And again, this goes back to how many real retirees who will actually depend on their investments throughout retirement would be comfortable sticking with a 100% stock allocation. Because I actually want to dive into the numbers of some of these, even the trials that were successful. I want to look at 1989. I want to look at 1994. And I want to look at 2004. So technically these individuals had money left over, but let's look at this. So yes, 1989, we started with $1 million, okay, in the portfolio. We started to withdraw 8% a year, okay. Look at even just after the second year, the portfolio balance is well below the $1 million starting point. This would make the average retiree pretty nervous. You've gone through 2 years, and we've already had a little bit of volatility, okay? Now, particularly this was in the international markets. This is when international was down by 24%. And you know what? The market did rally. It did recover. But I'm just pointing out the fact that emotions are at play here. These individuals don't know what the future is. We have the benefit of hindsight, and this individual retired, and after 2 years, their portfolio balance is lower. But the rate of withdrawal will continue to go up, and as a percentage, it's going to go up for sure. But, you fast forward, we had the tech boom going on in the 90s, so the portfolio was really able to recover and actually went up to about $1.6 million at the end of 2007. So you might be thinking, all right, now they're feeling a lot better. Well, they're 100% invested in stocks. They're about to go through the Great Recession, 2008, the worst market we've seen in our lifetime. Now they're taking out more money than they started taking out because of inflation, but now the market's dropped. Their rate of return went down by close to 40%, but their portfolio was basically cut in half. Now, tell me how many investors, how many retirees would be comfortable with that type of scenario, okay? Same thing with the individual in 1994. They experienced a pretty solid boom, and actually, kind of on the flip side, like they were actually feeling pretty optimistic for a while. their portfolio went to about 1.5 million after starting with $1 million in year one, but then they go through the tech bubble bursting for a few years, and their portfolio balance went from 1.5 all the way down to below $1 million. Tell me how many retirees wouldn't be feeling nervous about this scenario. Yes, hindsight's 2020, stay the course and everything works out. But not only did you have, yes, you had the recovery there, but then you had 2008, your portfolio went back to 1.5 million, but now it's cut in half, just like that other investor as well. Okay, so again, this goes back to that risk tolerance, risk capacity conversation. Yes, in theory, a stock portfolio might perform better over the life of a 20 or 30 year period. But in the meantime, you're going to have a lot more uncertainty. You're going to have a lot more volatility, and you might have the potential for your portfolio to run out and not even make it 20 years. Okay. 2004, technically speaking, this investor had money left over, but we're only talking about a 21-year time horizon. And this individual that started with $1 million, now their portfolio is valued at $150,000. It's likely to be depleted after 22 or 23 years. And if you look at the big one I want to point out is 2022. This individual may have been feeling okay. I mean, yes, they went through the Great Recession. That was no question. That was painful. Their portfolio was cut by about 40% that period of time. But then it kind of rallied pretty nicely, even up until pre-COVID, 2019. A lot of people may have just said, you know what, this is actually pretty acceptable. We're 15 years in. We still have half of our portfolio balance intact. Let's see what happens over the next 5 years. And then they run into 2022, where we have bad returns and super high inflation, 6.4%, 7%. That is going to destroy any retirement income plan, especially if that portfolio balance has been depleted over the course of the first 15, 20 years in retirement. So I guess my questions, after seeing these back tests, would you still follow Dave Ramsey's 8% rule? Or would you potentially lower your rate of withdrawal? And then also, would you be comfortable staying invested 100% in stocks throughout the duration of retirement? And I want you to be honest. Don't give me hypotheticals like, oh, Kevin, I'm going to retire in 15 years. I will be comfortable 100% stocks. I want you to be honest. And especially for those of you that are already retired or maybe on the brink of retirement, are you comfortable with a 100% stock allocation? And listen, if you're trying to figure this retirement planning thing out on your own, if you are looking to figure out what an optimal investment strategy and a withdrawal strategy is for your retirement, we'd love to help you. This is what we do day in and day out. You can start by visiting our website at www.imaginefinancialsecurity.com, or you can start with a retirement readiness questionnaire that is linked in the description, in the show notes. We'd love to hear from you to see how we can help you plan for and execute a successful retirement. Hope you guys found this video helpful, and until next week, I'll see you then.